Let's have a look at Google Calendar. This is a continuation of a series of using free Google tools and G Suite, which is the paid upgrade version, essentially a Gmail or Google account where you can use your own domain name or multiple domain names, or manage a company through that. Is formerly known as Google Apps. Now it's called G Suite. So we'll dive right in here. A couple of great things with this. I'm going to try to stay high level and show you guys how to set some of this up, and you can certainly play with it or watch other videos on some other specific best practices. But one of the great things here is that you can have multiple layers of calendars or multiple calendars, and you can share any of those calendars specifically with certain people. So for example, I have a calendar here that I kind of administer, for lack of a better term, for some of the events at our local board. So those are in here in orange. And if I did not want to see those, just temporarily, just not see them displayed, I can just click on this box and they actually go away. The other great thing about that is that these are just in my calendar. It doesn't mean that I'm going to them necessarily. So if I'm going to them, I can easily just single click on this and copy to my calendar, which I've already done as well. There's two here. And then mark that time as busy, set reminders for myself or anything specifically or personal to me. Another great thing about these is that they are color coded, or I make them color coded. Specifically, I use red for when I need to be somewhere. So if I physically need to be somewhere, if I use red, that lets me know at a glance that I need to take a shower, be prepared, assess the travel time. So it's just a great way to do that. And this calendar, gray, is just kind of time I've blocked off for myself or for creative time. Um, this greenish color is a calendar for the Soul Sisters team that everybody can see. So we put in events or things that everybody would need to know or things like that. So this can be great for time blocking. It can be great for use with a program like Calendly or MeetMe.so, where you can send out a link to somebody else and it works off the availability in your calendar. So a lot of these are blocked off events. So I use Calendly a lot. I'm a big fan. If you click, if I send out a Calendly link to people, these times are automatically blocked. So no one could book a time for a call or a meeting with me when one of these other events is already set. So like most things, it's only as good as the data you give it. So you need to be careful when you can just click to create a new event or go over here and click create. So when you create an event, you want to be careful to label it clearly or name it clearly. If you do have multiple calendars, we're not going to go into how to set those up on this video, but I can certainly show you that, or you can certainly look it up. Google has a great support forum that you can check out. So you can easily select what calendar you want to put it on. But to go even deeper, hit Edit Event, and you can select the colors here. There are a number of other things you can do. You can automatically add a Google Hangout to it if that's something you want to do, and then that'll be in the, if you invite other people, that'll be in this calendar invite for them to see. You can set notifications, multiple notifications. You can also select how, if you want to get an email or a pop-up. And you can also set it to be any event to be available or busy. So if you're just setting a reminder, you might not necessarily need it to show you as busy. And you can set defaults for all of these for any new event, default notification time and type, busy or available. Additionally, when you add a location, it's pretty good about pulling from either your past history, of course it's not going to do it now, or pulling up items from Google Calendar. So sometimes you could just go in here and type in Starbucks, usually you can do it, and it'll actually pull up a specific Starbucks location. So a great way to be clear about where you're meeting somebody is to add a definitive where here, or just an address that will help somebody have clarity on where you're meeting. And you can, of course, adjust the times for the length of the actual meeting or event. So as far as Google itself goes, that is probably the high level. If you need to get into settings or share a calendar, there's a little arrow or caret that pops down when you mouse over each one. So you can check the settings, even change the global color for that calendar, edit notifications, or share it with other people. So that's how you would do that. These are calendars that you own, for lack of a better term. And then these are other calendars that maybe someone else had shared with you. This is an old Gmail account that I've added here just so any events I put in a long time ago are also showing up in this calendar. And they're a separate color, so I can tell that they are actually living in that other calendar. So on a Mac, to be sure your calendar is set up the same, you're going to want to go into your general settings, into your internet accounts. Mine's already set up, but if you don't have this here, you're going to want to click Google and then put in your Gmail or G Suite account details here, very similar to the contacts video if you've seen our contacts video. And then you want to then go into the new account that you've added here and just be certain that calendars are checked. So that would be the best way to do that. And then that calendar will then also show up here in your Apple calendar. And very similar to the way the Google is set up, you can check or uncheck simply what you want displayed. It doesn't remove any of this data. It just shows what to display. So similar to the other thing we did, if I uncheck the board calendar, you can see then it goes away. But I simply check it again to see that. Typically, the settings carry over. It's not a perfect apples to apples just because of the different calendar formats, but typically any notifications or busy or available settings I've set in Google will also be in here. So one thing of note, when you do create a new event in the Apple calendar, you'll want to add some of those same settings. And let's start here. Let's just do a test event. So as you start to type, it'll pop in more details. And it should have a place where it's here. You select which calendar it lives on. I typically work out of the Google Calendar. So I create new events in Google itself, and then they push here. If you want to create a new event here, but be sure it's on your Google Calendar, you're going to want to click that little colored box up here, the color square, and then just be sure that you select the calendar that you want it to live on. In this case, if I wanted it to be in my main Google Calendar that we were just looking at, I would select this box because this is that calendar. If it was an event for the board, it would go on this calendar. I have a personal family calendar that's shared with family. So this is where you can select what calendar you want that event to actually live on, and then it should still be displayed with this setup in any of the places that you go to find it. So that's the essence of it. If you have questions, definitely drop a comment or reach out to us otherwise. I'm going to hop over to mobile now and show you how to be sure that's set up right. So now in mobile, we want to do, this is remarkably similar to the contacts that we did before. So you want to go to settings on an iPhone or an iPad, any iOS operating system device, and you're going to go down to mail, contacts, and calendar. So this is on the main page of the settings on the phone or tablet. And then you're going to want to go down to, we explored this a little in the last video, any of mail, contacts, and calendar will work for this. I'm going to hop into mail for a minute. And if you click on the accounts, it shows all the accounts you already have linked. So if you've already got this Gmail or G Suite account added here, all you really need to do in mail, contacts, or calendars is just be certain that the calendar slider here is on, that you see it as green. If it's not, just touch it and it'll slide over to green, and then make sure you save that. But in any of these settings here, just be sure that that account is there. So you've added it and that calendars is turned on. If you do not have it there, go to add account, go through Google, looks a lot like on the computer, and then add in that Gmail or G Suite account there, and then it will display here for you to turn on the calendar. Similar to what we looked at before, when you're in calendar, you need to come down here, and this is the biggest thing that most people miss. These settings are all happy and good, but the most important one is the default calendar. So make sure that your default calendar is whichever calendar you want these events to live on. We can see once again here I've got that same calendar selected here. So that just means when I create a new event on my Apple calendar on my phone, it will place that event on that same Google calendar. So essentially we're using Google as the brain, and it pushes out is probably a more appropriate term, so that I see it on all my devices, whether it's the Google or the Apple version of that. So I hope that helps. If you have questions, do please let me know. But again, the biggest thing is to make sure that in calendar, you've got your default calendar set up as that same Google Calendar, so that any new event created on your phone calendar will also live on that same calendar. So you're not actually having events across multiple calendars that are related, unless you are intending to have events across multiple calendars. So again, reach out if you have questions or add a comment below, and we're happy to help.